Thank you for joining us on this 12th day of February 2023. What brings you here today? For some of us, it's joining with other like minded folks seeking connection to a higher spiritual awareness. Some of us are seeking inspiration to get through the week, or the wise words of our speaker. Some think they are just here for a free cup of coffee, but even they will leave with a lot more than that. This is not the first time I described New Thought Center as a bring your own God church. I recently recalled that many years ago, I started to write an inspirational book. I'm not a person of many words, so I struggled through the first few pages, and that was the end of it. But the one thing that stayed with me was the title, All Roads Lead to Home. We at New Thought aspire to be one of those roads on the path to home. And we're going to start off the day with a very special Science of Mind reading with Pomokai and Faith. This is Faith's debut. Well, she danced in front of us a few times, but this is her first time in an honored spot reading the Science of Mind for the day.
Whoa. Get the clipboard.
Yes,
Oh God. Okay. We both need to hold this.
ma'am.
Living
Living
with
with the
the expectancy
expectancy
of
of
good.
good.
Okay, I can actually hear this. When we are in our garden and decide to plant seeds of a particular vegetable, let's say radishes, what vegetable do you expect to see after a couple of weeks? Carrots? Of course not. We plant radishes and expect to see radishes.
It is the same in other areas of our life. Do we plant, let go, do we plant a seed of judgment or envy toward a person and expect them to like us? I think there's something within us that exudes, something others may not see, but they feel and realize there is something other than love toward them. This is the creative law of mind. When we act in a certain way with love and an expectancy of cheerfulness, unless this is the true feeling within you, in your heart, the law will respond in perhaps an undesirable way to our way of thinking. Even though our outer appearance may be one of sincerity, who or what we truly are in our heart outshines everything else. It's time to turn things around. Release any ill will you may be harboring within. This may be ideas as well as people who have belittled you, or an animal that bit you, or even a plant that gave you a rash or produces pollen.
Accept good and
Expect.
you expect good and your life will be filled with blessings beyond your fondest hopes and dreams. State your
Intention.
intention with expectancy of fulfillment of good. Be grateful for all you are and all you have. Know deep within that you are provided with all the goodness of life.
And the affirmation we'll read and then we'll have you repeat it afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
I
I
expect
expect and
and
accept
accept
all
all
of
of
the
the
goodness
goodness
life
life
has
has
to
to
offer.
offer.
As
As
I
I
give,
give, so
so I
I
receive.
receive.
So, all together now. I
I
expect and
and
accept
accept
all
all
of
of
the
the
goodness
goodness
life
life
has
has
to
to
offer
offer
as I
as I
give,
give,
so
so
I
I
receive.
receive. Oh gosh. Okay, now get me down.
Thank you.
Ah, and we're going to get ready, get comfortable for our silent meditation. My heart goes out with the sound of the bell. May all the hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow. So today's meditation, I'd like us all to focus on remembering things that we are grateful for. Miracles and ordinaries are the New Thought Center's style of show and tell. Share with us recent happenings, big or little, that has brought joy and wonder to you. Anybody? Come on, Candy? Oh, let me put this way.
People and families in my life. And some years ago, I had a group that met called Mother's Morning Out and became very good friends with some of those families. Um, One of those families invited me to be at their child's birth. And that boy now has, oh, I have to add, when he was born, he never cried. He just looked around at everything. And it was quite beautiful. That boy now lives in Alaska with his two children and beautiful wife. And they came to visit me yesterday. We spent the day together. But even more than that, how precious that is, the way they are raising their children, and the way so many families have shifted to a more enlightened way of raising their children is so beautiful. They're teaching their children to respect themselves and the world by the way they treat them. Instead of shaming and blaming and having power over, they're helping their children to understand to do what is good because it feels right. And in the meantime, have lots of joy and discovery of the world. Thank you.
Ooh,
Good morning. I'm Anna. I have good news and bad news. The good news is my friend Austin, who's sitting over here. I brought him with me today. He has come as a volunteer to help on our farm. And the bad news is that he came at a time that I was in such need. Dear David, my partner, and y'all have met David from time to time. He's not a regular person who comes, but he's been here. And uh, he came home from California very, very, very sick. And after 3 days of staying in bed, um, he had some symptoms that were so concerning. My next door neighbor, who's a retired family nurse practitioner, says immediately go to the emergency room. And we did. And the CAT scan showed that he had something in his intestines that were very inflamed. And I told them at the time that he had a very significantly sore, painful leg. They didn't pay any attention to it. And 2 days later, he complained to the doctor that he had leg pain, and they sent an ultrasound person in, and he had a blood clot in his leg. And either of those conditions could be fatal if they aren't handled properly. So, my joy and my gratitude is that he's on the mend. He was in the hospital 5 days, and he's pretty much stayed in bed since he came home, which was last Wednesday. But Austin was here to help get him down the very difficult pathway to our farm from where we park, and he's he's didn't have pain meds for the first time yesterday, so I'm just so happy about that. So keep us in your prayers, please, because I am under more stress than I can possibly remember. Uh, and I wanted to tell y'all something. When we do go out, David wants to go see the movie that's at the uh, Kehoe Theater, and it's called The Wind and the Reckoning, about the Kalapapa leper colony. And our boat was in that movie. His Several times we went to Kauai High and did filming, so he wants to see it because of that, but also because of the historical significance. I think it's only going to be there till Wednesday.
Any more miracles and ordinaries? So we have a couple of new people here. I'd like you to say a couple words about who you are and what's going on. Well, before he does so, I want to say for the new people, instead of clapping, we're using the sign language applause. That's it.
Aloha. Hi, I'm from Kentucky. My name's Austin. Just moved here. I think 5, 6 days now. I can't keep up, but um, met her off of World Packers. It's kind of like a work trade. But had about 20 applications I put in. Many people wanted me around, and I felt more led to come to her farm. And she's been wonderful. I already feel like she's like a grandmother, auntie, and all. Very nurturing. Yes, mi abuela, as we say. Um, David, I've got to speak with him a little bit throughout the days, but he seems better every day already. So those of you that know him and are concerned, you don't need to be too worried. He's going to make it. And it's just nice to meet y'all. Vessels would be the last name, like blood vessels or ship vessels. But Austin, if you guys didn't catch it first, it's nice to meet you all.
We have one more new person to meet.
Aloha, I'm Julie, and the the honking horn was my was my. I just noticed it was like I never hear horns honking here. You know, it just you don't hear it. I love it. It's so quiet. I'm from the mainland too. I used to live in Scottsdale. That was my. I didn't. I was only there for a couple of years. I'm here. I know Shayna and Steven. Steven and I just met, but Shayna and I go way back. What is it, 45 years? Is that what you said? Yeah. We met in Boulder and the island in September. So yeah, and I'm loving it. I feel so blessed to be here, and it's nice to meet you all. So aloha.
Okay. Thank you. Last chance at any ordinaries.
Um, on Saturdays, everything happens here. All the events, all the special things, and they all start at either 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And Faith has ballet at 10 to 11. So by the time we ever get anywhere to any of these things, it's about 11:30 or 12. And so yesterday, I wanted to go to Randall's Avocado Festival. And I was just thinking, oh, they turned the parking lot into that pay till you're broke place. And I need to park. I can't walk very far without going into pain and spasm. So I was trying to think of where I could go that would be close enough so I wouldn't have to have a problem. And so I have this thing I say, Faith and I do both together. We when we're wanting to have a really great parking spot, we say, "Give us rock star parking, please." We got that from Faith Claire, or Claire, excuse me, Faith Claire. I can't, my brain's Marie Claire, the other one. And so I was doing that yesterday and I'm like, where can I go? Where can I go? So I drove by. It was jam packed. Everywhere was packed with people yesterday. It was unbelievable. I think everybody in the whole island was out somewhere on the road, in the stores, at Costco. Oh my gosh. It was just crazy. So I'm like, oh boy, okay. I affirm I have rock star parking and I always arrive in perfect time everywhere I go. So I'm driving along and then I thought, aha, I can go park back in the back over here, but not over in Coconut Grove, not in the Coconut Grove, but on the other side that's further north. And I pulled in there and there's like 20 parking spots. Nobody's in there. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. So it was a little bit of a stretch for me, but it wasn't, I made it and it was fun. And I got there and I was like, those of you who've ever been to the Avocado Festival in the past, it's always been like hundreds of booths, everybody all crammed together, all around the outside, all in the inside, different kinds of food vendors, all kinds of stuff. This time, because of all the things that were going on, and because a lot of the vendors have taken to having regular gigs that they do on Saturday, they weren't there. And there was one food vendor, and there were just a handful of booths that were all outside in the front, nobody inside and nobody in the back. He did have live entertainment. And I got to hand it to Randall because he keeps moving things and he kind of sees a need and handles it in the midst of all these people and everybody wanting his attention and wanting things from him. And he just does it. And he's so elegant about the way he does things. And I just really appreciate Randall. So I just want to give a shout out to him. And then we were going to leave, but then I thought, nope, I got to see if Amatra is here. So I went around the corner and a beautiful plant with really little red flowers on it that look like little hearts when you're not too close to them. And so it just like capped off the day and made it so special just to be there. And just in so much gratitude for the parking angels and and for all the other angels that I ran into, including Jewel. I saw Jewel there, and she actually talked to me, and I was so happy. So it's so nice to reconnect and to see people again and to be out and about, and hopefully things will calm down a little bit for so we'll all have time to do all the things that we want to do and they don't plan them all for the same day. That's my intention. That they plan them for different days of the month or months or yeah. So and that everybody here gets to have rock star parking, including you out there in Cyberland. Aloha.
Thank you. And for the last few weeks, we've been asking people to help Patty Wall with the lays. So today we have a new lay maker. Jamie made her first lay for New Thought, and she's presenting it to our presenter today, Alfredo. Oh, I don't need both. Okay. Thank you, Jamie. And we're still need more help with the lays. Jamie and Patty can't do it all. So anybody that's interested, it's a nice Hawaiian tradition to learn and participate in. Okay. So the lays are put on a long needle specially made for that job. Tony Vaughn says she has a needle she's willing to loan or donate to anybody that needs it. Thank you, Tony. And today, our speaker and musician is Alfredo Gormazano. Alfredo has translated sacred Sufi poetry from Uzbek and Turkish into English. His healing practices include acupressure, aromatherapy, sound healing, and the use of herbs. He has been sharing his gifts with the New Thought community for over a decade. Alfredo's talk today is Words of the Ancient One. Thank you.
Yes, hello, hello. Good morning. So, yes, the voices of the ancient ones were momentarily drowned out by the attempted voices of the moderns. My I the heritage kind of skipped my father. My father's family are Sephardic Jews, Spanish Jews that lived in Turkey for 400 years after being kicked out of Spain in 1492, of course. And my grandparents, who I really never met because they passed away when I was born, they loved Turkish music. My father, not so much. Their first language was Ladino Spanish, which is Spanish from the 1400s with Hebrew, Greek, and Turkish words mixed in with it. Their second language was Turkish. Their third language, from what I hear distantly, was English. My father was born in Brooklyn, so his first language was Brooklyn, New York English. And his second language was Ladino Spanish. My mother didn't speak it, so I never learned it growing up, unfortunately. But later on in life, when I was exposed to Middle Eastern music, especially Turkish music and then also Persian music, my body went crazy. And when I heard Turkish language spoken for the first time, it was like music going through my body. And I said, I've got to learn this language. So not only did I study Turkish, I studied Uzbek, which is related from Central Asia, Kyrgyz, which is also related to Turkish, also from Central Asia, and Tajik, which is a Persian language. And in that studying, we did translating. And years ago, when I was in Boulder, Colorado, they signed a sister city agreement with Dushanbe, Tajikistan, when it was still part of the Soviet Union. And I called up the sister city committee, said, I've got to meet these people. How can I meet these people? Oh, you can come to the signing of the Sister City Pact on such day at City Hall. I was like, yeah, me and 3 million other people. You don't understand. I really got to meet these people. And dealing with them was like dealing with a Soviet bureaucracy. I couldn't get through. The first day they were in town, and speaking of magical parking places, library in Boulder, which is there's a creek right next to the parking lot. And I pull up, and there's this right in front of where I pull up my car. There's a group of very foreign looking people in jackets and all kinds of things by the creek. And I'm like, okay. And I get closer and I see the Soviet and American flags crossed on their lapels. And I was like, oh my God, it's them. And I move a little closer. And the next thing I know, this guy's got his arm around me and he's offering me his Bulgarian cigarettes. And every day they were in town, I would run into them someplace. So by the end of the week, we felt like family. And that was my first introduction to people from Central Asia. They left Boulder 4 record albums of Tajik music, which nobody could read what was on it because Tajik is Persian language, but written in Russian letters. So Russian speakers could read the letters, but it made no sense. And Persian speakers couldn't read the letters. So I taught myself how to read Russian letters and then listen to the songs to figure out what the extra letters that are in Tajik but not in Russian sounded like. And then I got together with an Iranian friend and I read him the titles. He translated, we gave that to the library. In that translating, one of the songs on the pop music album said music by so and so, words by J. Rumi. I went, J. Rumi? That's Jalaluddin Rumi doing pop music in Tajikistan? This is crazy. So, anyway, I recorded it. And then years later, when I was in Seattle studying Tajik language, I brought the recording in to my teacher, who was a poet and writer from Tajikistan. And I said, Ustad, which, if you know Spanish, there's the word usted in Spanish, and that in no other Latin languages do you have that, but usted means master in Arabic languages, and also or teacher. So it was moved into Persian languages also. So Ustad, in Rumi asked, is this Rumi? And he listens, he goes, ha, Rumi asked, yes, this is Rumi. Good, let's translate it. So we translated it in class. And ever since then, I have been singing it and playing it. So let's see. I will play it on this instrument, the saz. But before we go there, since parking was mentioned and doing prayer for parking, there's a character in Central Asia called Effendi or Effendi who's always seems like he's kind of like dumb and whatever and doesn't know what's going on. But at the end of the story, always has the zinger for the answer. In Hawaii, I ran across a similar character called Keoki. So I will tell you a quick Effendi story first, and then I will tell you the Keoki story, which has to do with parking. So one day, Effendi and the Padishah and the Padishah's son, Padishah's a kind of ruler, are going out hunting. And the Padishah and his son are on horseback. Effendi is on foot. And the day is getting hot and sweat is pouring from Effendi's brow. And without a care, the Padishah takes off his chapan, his coat, and throws it upon Effendi. And the son of the Padishah, seeing that, also takes off his chapan without a care and throws it upon Effendi. Now Effendi's really sweating, really sweating. And the Padishah, ridiculing, he says to him, so, Effendi, is it the load of a donkey you're struggling under? And he goes, no, my Padishah, it is the load of 2 donkeys. So now the Keoki story. So we're in downtown Honolulu and Keoki's running late for a meeting and there's no parking nowhere. He's looking for parking, looking, nothing. So he starts praying, Father God, if you bring me a parking place, I'll give up drinking. I'll even give up eating poke. Miraculously, a parking place opens up in front of him. He pulls in and he goes, Father God, never mind what I said. I found a spot. So, a lot of healing, as you can see, also has to do with humor. And if you had those of you who were here beforehand and saw this incredibly stressed out person trying to get everything together for this, are seeing the transformation now with humor and music into a calm, meditative, cool person. But anyway, here is that poem from the Tajik pop music album. Actually, let me play the music first. Dam ni gori hudra migashki di hona dar dasta shubobe nezar yake tarona Mozart maya tuotash mizad taronaya fush Mastu charab migash as bodaya shabona dar padaya irokim mizad banomi sokim Maksud boda budash Soki budash bahona Soki mahuye Dardasti usabuye Astushaya daroman Bin hodar miona Idam ni gori hudra migashke di hona bardastash rubobe mezarya ke tarona. I saw my beloved self whirling around the room. In their hand was a rhubarb, an instrument, playing a song. As if having a wound burning like fire, beloved played this beautiful song. Drunk and ruined was beloved from the wine of the night, the wine of love, the wine of God. Now this next line has double meaning. From behind the veil of Iraq, in the musical scale called Iraq, beloved played to the name of the Saki, the cupbearer. But that wine, that divine wine, was the reason for beloved to be there. The Saki, just an excuse. Ah, that Saki, that cupbearer, whose face glowed like a moon. In their hand was the pitcher of that divine wine. And again, double meaning. From out of the corner came that beloved, or came that Saki, or in the musical phrase called Daroman, the center of all, the center of all of our hearts. I saw beloved's true self whirling around the room. Drunk and obliterated. was beloved from the wine of the night, the wine of love, the wine of God. Itam ni gori rudro, mi gashke di hona, bagashta shrubobe, nizarya ke tarona. Itam ni gori rudro, mi gashke di hona, bagashta Rubobe Messiah Caron Ya Hazreti Mevlana Hakdost. Blessings to Mevlana, the friend of the beloved, or the friend of truth. So if anyone is not familiar with Jalaluddin Rumi, does anyone not know Jalaluddin Rumi and who he was? Okay, good. So another tradition I came across in Seattle, of all places, was Kyrgyz, from Kyrgyzstan. So the University of Washington had a Central Asian languages program for a while, and they had grants available. So I got to go study languages and get money for it. It was wonderful. But one summer I went into Seattle when the department was having their summer program party, and each class, each language would give a presentation from that culture. And the Kyrgyz teacher happened to also be a singer and a komuz player. And having had a background in sound healing many, many, many years before that, when I heard her sing, I felt like her voice was just going through my body and vibrating every cell. And afterwards, I said to her, I said, "Do you realize what's going on when you sing?" And she acted like she didn't know, because it was 1995 or 6 or something like that. And, still influenced by the Soviet culture, which kind of drowned out the Kyrgyz culture and ridiculed it and everything. And if you walked around carrying a komuz during Soviet times, people would laugh at you. But upon independence, everybody started learning to play komuz and started singing Kyrgyz songs. So anyway, as I got to know her over the years, that changed from, Fredo, I don't know how other cultures feel about their national instruments, but I feel like the komuz has a spirit. Because when I moved from one apartment to the other, it felt empty until I brought my komuzes there, and then it felt full again. So she knew, she understood. There's another poet who I will also report you of, who's from Uzbekistan, Baba Rahim Ashrab, who I feel like I may be the first person that translated his work into English. But I was trying to stick with the same syllable patterns of the original, also stick with the original meaning